Awesome. All right, welcome everyone. It's noon. On Tuesday, March 3rd, for our Combined Advisory Board meeting. Thank you everyone for being here, and as well as our guests that I see. Thanks for being here today. Just to get started, we're gonna go into our roll call. Cindy Lynn,
Present.
Josh Dean,
Here.
Mahela Sacarelli,
Here.
Madison Swain, Kelly Linden,
Here.
Whitney Pierce,
Here.
Ronald Diaz, Justin DeMatteo.
Here.
JD Whiteman. Is it
Online. He's online.
online? Okay.
Online.
Kelly Mills. She's coming. Amy Lee.
Here.
Myself, Mr. G. Martin is here, and Christina Marquez.
I'm here virtually.
Awesome, thank you, Christina. And I see, I think JD's online as well.
I think Christina wanted to read a just cause.
Okay,
Yep. I'm notifying the Climate Advisory Board that I will be attending the meeting today remotely due to just cause because I'm sick. Don't want to get any of you sick. Pursuant to the Brown Act, I am disclosing that there are no individuals 18 years of age or older present in the room with me. I will update this disclosure if it changes during the course of the meeting. Thank you.
thank you. Okay. And now we're going on to item 2, which is our land acknowledgement. Mahela?
We acknowledge that the land on which the city of San Diego is built is the unceded territory of the Kumeyaay Nation. The Kumeyaay people have lived on and cared for this land for over 10,000 years and have demonstrated resilience and adaptability in the face of colonization, land loss, and environmental change. Today, the urgency of climate action compels us to confront these environmental crises with the same dedication to the stewardship that has sustained this land for millennia. In this acknowledgement, we recognize the importance of immediate and bold actions to protect the environment, honor the history of this land, and ensure a sustainable future for all.
Thank you very much. Moving on to item 3 is adoption and ratification of agenda. Thanks to look at it. Again, we'll go ahead and adopt.
I'll make a motion to adopt.
Thank you,
Seconded.
Whitney. Thank you, Cindy. All those in favor of adopting our agenda?
Aye.
Any abstains or against? And thank you. Oh, and it's Christina, just seeing you on there. Hi. Yeah, okay. And thank you. Moving on to item 4, our approval of minutes. And a motion, thank you.
I have a comment,
Okay,
a correction I'd like to recommend to the minutes. It refers to the creation of the 2 ad hoc committees that we voted on last time, and it had a truncated name for each, and I'd like to make sure it has the full name for both of them. I went back to the recording. The first one is the Building Decarb Ad Hoc Committee to align with staff to plan and sequence CAB engagement. The second one is CAP Transparency and Public Understanding Ad Hoc Committee to recommend an initial plan. So I'd like the minutes to be updated to reflect the full name.
thank you.
And then otherwise I move to adopt the minutes with that correction.
Thank you so much. All those in favor of, oh, do I have a second? First, thank you, Josh. All those in favor of adopting with the modifications that Kelly had mentioned?
Aye.
Any against or abstaining? Thank you. We're moving on to item 5, which is announcements, and we'll start with our staff.
Doreen has her hand up online.
Doreen?
It's for non-agenda public comment.
Hi, Doreen.
Hi, I have my hand up for non-agenda public comment because the other meetings don't let you speak unless it's on before they call it.
Awesome. No, thank you, Ms. Doreen. Thanks for being here too. That'll be our item 6, so it's coming up right after our item 5. So I will make sure to reach back out to you when we get to item 6. So on item 5, for announcement from staff.
Just one announcement we wanted to share related to the building decarbonization priority neighborhood zones that I know that the board is interested in tracking. Just wanted to share that SDG&E is hosting an information session on March 9th. That's coming Monday. It is a virtual only online meeting. We can provide some of the information with the final meeting materials when we post those, but this is an opportunity to learn more about where SDG&E and the state are at in this process and to provide input in that process. So I wanted to make everyone aware. That's all we have.
Thank you.
Was this, I'm sorry, could you clarify, was this related to the SB 1221?
Yes.
Okay.
Moving on to,
Andrew, did you want to make an announcement regarding the Sandag grants that came out? I think that was not mentioned last time and it came out right in this period of time.
I don't think we have any.
The one for the
information?
cap update, the bike. lane.
Yeah, I thought, yeah, forgive me if we haven't announced that.
I don't think you announced it last time.
Sandag has announced, notice of intent to award, a Smart Growth Incentive Program grant to fund our climate action plan update.
Wonderful.
An amount of up to $400,000, and we're currently in the process of finalizing that agreement with Sandag at estimated early March. So that could happen anytime, but that's where we're at now. We'll certainly report again once that's fully executed and once we're getting more formally underway with the cap update itself. I can stay a little bit.
hi Kelly, welcome. Any board announcements?
I have one, which maybe I can pass off to JD also as desired. We have another another event in the What If We Get It Right speaker series. Thank you so much for the folks who came out last time. That was really lovely. Really appreciated it. So very happy to say that JD will be presenting in the San Diego Green Drinks space. So that'll be March 16th. So coming up fairly soon. It's on a Monday. So this will be a look at San Diego transportation. What if we get it right in that space in particular? And that's 6 p.m.
What day again?
The 16th,
16.
and TBD location.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you want to add anything, JD?
No, that covered it. Thank you.
Awesome. Any other board announcements? Thank you. Moving on to item 6, which is our non-agenda public comments. I know we have guests in here as well. I don't see a ticket for a comment, so we'll go ahead and move on to online. I know Doreen.
Hello, thank you, board, for your time. I am speaking on behalf of the Hampshire Neighborhood Council, and I want to make sure that this board, since you are advocates of the environment, are aware of what's going on with stormwater. If you look, and I just now posted some photos, but this Hampshire drainage channel has been cleaned a minimum of twice since the January 22nd, 2024 flood that destroyed over a dozen homes in Hampshire. And you can see from the photos what it looks like last week when we just had the rain. There's still invasive weeds. There's just no excuse. The city has all these lawsuits and they're still not cleaning these channels in our community of concern. So I'm hoping whatever your committee can do for climate justice, as far as our channels, that if you could step up and help in any way. I don't know if you can add that as an agenda item. And the second part is they did a bird study at 12:30 in an August summer day of birds, 12:30 in the afternoon in August, searching for birds instead of doing it in the morning or at dusk. And lo and behold, they said they didn't see any hawks. or raptors, which I see every day. So I also want to find out if your group has any authority over looking at any of the contracts with third parties that work as environmental scientists, or that, working on these projects and supposedly they're searching for birds, because the hottest day in August is really not the time to look for birds. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Noreen. I don't, right now, I haven't answered that anybody know anything about, was mentioned at all?
What's that?
That was mentioned about either the waterways you're talking about or the birds.
I do know that the resiliency board is looking into that particular situation. So they might be a point of contact to be more efficient.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so the Resiliency Advisory Board specifically is looking at stormwater this year, so definitely you may want to consider reaching out to them as well.
Thank you.
And I think they have some, I don't know if they do bird stuff. Yeah, they have some bird people on there too.
Do you have any other public comments? All right, thank you. We're gonna go ahead and move on to item 7. Drew Destin, who's going to be doing our San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance Sustainability Strategy and Alignment to the Climate Action Plan. So he's going to present on San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance, Sustainability Strategy, and highlight alignment areas with the city of San Diego's Climate Action Plan. Thank you.
Where's the best spot to give the presentation? Just right here?
If you want, there you go up wherever you like.
Here's the
There's a
speaker.
microphone.
Okay. Don't want to get out of range, so.
Here's the speaker, so
Oh, okay.
the mic rather.
Come over and hang out with you all. Have fun down there. Alrighty, well, yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity to serve on this board, as well as provide a nice little update about what the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance is doing behind the scenes to not just build up our wildlife conservation mission as always, but to build more of a forward-facing sustainability brand. So we're titling this Advancing Climate Action because that's what it's about. Next slide, please. So quick show of hands here for the board. Everybody been to the zoo or safari park? Just about. If not, we'll find you. We'll send you a nice little mailer. But for those that don't know, we have a nice little way to welcome people to the Alliance. It's a big mouthful of an organizational name, but there's 2 front doors. One is the world famous San Diego Zoo. Iconically, last year we brought back the giant pandas, which has been a great opportunity for us. And secondly, I have another promotion later, but the San Diego Zoo Safari Park is opening up Elephant Valley in 2 days. So that's going to be a really fun one coming up as well. Next slide, please. A lot of people think about our 2 front doors, the zoo and safari park, but one of the biggest things we've been doing over the last 5 to several years is expanding our horizons and trying to promote more of the global work that we do throughout the world. And so we have several different categories here that we try to target. Our species survival program, SSP, from Pacific Islands to Southwest, a lot of the habitat and environment we're out in. Amazonia, so on and so forth. So we have a little touch where we have our wildlife care specialists, conservation scientists, experts, subject matter experts, stormwater, so on and so forth, going all around the world to try to help different zoos, aquariums, and communities that are trying to reduce endangered species increasing and illegal illegal animal trafficking. Happens all throughout the world still. So we take a policy position as well as 2 really awesome, exciting, engaging opportunities at the zoo and safari park. Next slide. Our vision for sustainability, you always start with the vision and then you work back on some strategic initiatives. This actually took place before I started. I've been with the organization as Director of Sustainability and Stewardship for about 1.5 years now. They decided to embark on this effort about 3 years ago. They brought in a consultant as well as 30 to 40 of some of our brightest minds at the zoo and safari park to expand on this idea of sustainability. And I think of everything going on here, honing in on the 2 green bubbles. In 5 years, we want to successfully complete projects to be sustainable and building sustainability into our beliefs and brands with our marketing and communications teams. In 10 years, we want to be one of the top leaders in sustainability and serve as a champion and ambassador for other zoos, organizations, aquariums to follow suit. Next slide, please. Similar, path, start with your vision and then dial down into some of the core working groups. Once again, it's a beautiful visual. So if you want to read little snippets, it's there online. for the public and board to see, but the green areas is where we're gonna kind of dial in and try to find some alignment and connections with the city's cap. So waste reduction, diversion, so on and so forth, that's what we're gonna be talking about. Next slide, please. So we distilled this beautiful art into, the 3 Ps. It's supposed to be our association on brand with the 3 Es of sustainability, environment, economics, and equity. Ours are people, planet, and product. As you can see, we, in our first iteration, sort of had a hierarchy approach and we color coordinated things because that's what we do as humans to make it feel easier and more manageable, is to break it all out. One of the things that we've done in the last year and a half, next slide, please, is to put all of those working groups on the same level. When we start to work mutually exclusive from each other, it ends up after a while not actually being mutual. And I'm sure our city staff can agree with that between the different departments, committees, and so on and so forth. Nobody wants to see what that line art looks like for responsibilities, accountability, so on and so forth. Next slide. Honing into those 8 working groups that we have, we're not dedicated and saying this is everything there could ever be for us, but that's our starting point, which is ironic because the zoo's been around for over 100 years. But some of the biggest things we've done hit the ground running with our sustainability strategy is our waste reduction and diversion efforts. Next slide, please. Originally, we were served by 2 waste haulers, EDCO and Republic Services. When I started to dig in a little bit, knowing we have some pretty ambitious waste diversion goals for the type of work we do. Having 2 different waste haulers really creates an issue from signage to cost controls and stakeholder engagement. Everything you talk to at different haulers at different sites, even though you're operating the same, is very different. So we did an RFP. We were able to land proudly with EDCO. So we're on a 3-year contract with EDCO. Some of the fun things that we're rolling out, looking at best practices in the community, as well as what the city of San Diego is doing. On the left-hand side, you'll see all of our retail efforts and initiatives before I started, really trying to make sure people buy products and have that experience that they don't feel bad about after and create a bunch of waste. But the biggest effort I've been focused on is SB 1383 and improving compliance and making sure we have better signage as well as the infrastructure. So we bought about 40 more of the green compost bins to have them stand out. And then right now we're working on a sticker project, just like Padres. That's what's on the right, is at Petco Park. Low cost, easy to adapt, to take off or put a sticker on top. You don't need these $1,000 bins that are all encompassing. So that's been one of our proudest moments here in the last year and a half, and we got a long way to go, but we're in a good position. Next slide, please. If you've driven around, you've probably seen ginormous panda billboards and now the elephant billboard. Something huge is coming, but what we do is we take our digital billboards in our break areas where our team members eat, volunteers spend some time and give them a QR code so they can learn a little bit better on what goes where to help us meet our goals from the top to all the way down to our boots on the ground folks. Next slide, please. Our greenhouse gas management and reduction is probably our most complex, and one of the things we'll talk about later in our ad hoc committee is just public understanding. People can see, smell, point, hear different aspects of things they do and don't like, and at the zoo, they're gonna let you know. Whether they're a donor or a first-time visitor, they're gonna let you know. They're gonna say, hey, this bus kind of stinks, or it's really loud when it passes by, and you can't really hear the tour guide. So we take all of these things into account when we do our scope inventorying, and for our vested interest, we have a tremendous effort towards electrifying our transportation. So our parks on site between the zoo and Safari Park, we've really phased out a lot of our gas powered equipment unless it's an emergency vehicle or it's related to the type of work they do. Same with Safari Park. But one of the things we're looking at right now is the double-decker buses, which is our iconic, as well as our Africa Tram, which are both free services through the cost of your ticket when you come to the zoo or Safari Park. We're looking at a top-down approach to try to electrify these and reduce emissions. And they're our heaviest, these are elephants, if you will, of gas emissions. So we really want to try to tackle that along with our vehicle replacement program. Every time we have the opportunity to switch to a golf cart, or unfortunately Ford's not producing trucks or EVs anymore, but we like to try to get the right size vehicle for the job. So it's a tough job, though, I'll say. Next slide. So you break up that big scope, everything we do as an alliance, and you try to break it into those sectors. I mentioned our double-decker buses. Here's our Africa Tram, which we are by 2028. We have a really sexy design. It's sleek, it's modern. It still gives you that jungle safari feel, meeting the 21st century. But once again, that will be rolling out in piloted phases as well as a couple other electric vehicles like ADA shuttles to help people get around the park because it's 1,800 acres. It's massive. You can walk the whole thing and be
This is
exhausted.
the Safari Park.
This is the safari park. Yes. Next slide, please. When you take that bird's eye view out for a moment, you think 1,800 acres, and then you zoom into our small 100-acre campus at the zoo. There is an opportunity for aligning with what the city's doing and rolling out different energy service agreements. So we're talking about TRD and SDG&E, as well as wrapping up a renewable solar carport feasibility study. I wish I had that ready to go and to deliver and show you some beautiful photos, but why is this valuable? That little bubble there in the center within the yellow circle, that is, I believe it's like a ferret piece of DNA. And so we have a frozen zoo at the safari park in the zoo that uses liquid nitrogen to preserve a genetic copy of all of the animals between the zoo and safari park. And what we're stepping into now is plants as well. So we're saving genetic material and seeds from plants because, believe it or not, people come for the animals. Our biggest asset is actually the diverse ecological botany collection that we have there, because plants feed the animals, and we'll talk ecology later. So by being able to offset high energy costs, we're open 365 days a year. Solar seems to be a right size type of technology for us to lean into. So next slide, please. Everybody thinks water when you think sustainability. One of the things we try to promote is there's not as much of a shortage issue. There's more of a storage issue. So we have a number of different demonstrations on site. The photo on the left side in the center, that's a great example of how to slow rainwater down, sink it into cisterns or into the ground, spread it out across the landscape, store it for a drought day, extend your rainy season through the months when you need it the most. And one of the things I'm most proud of too will be our cute little hippos in the top left, as well as our polar bears zooming in the bottom left. Those tanks are hundreds of thousands of gallons, and prior years, it would be basically essentially like a hose in a pool, and it just overfills and we have a lot of wastewater that runs off. We have invested and continue to invest on filtration systems that I believe it's order of magnitude of 500,000 gallons between the both of those tanks that cycle, saving energy and filtering the water so we don't have to replace that water on an ongoing basis. Penguins we haven't done yet, but I don't think so at least. But next slide, please. Trying to mirror that waste reduction, digital billboard effort, bringing our team members some, see a leak, say something about the leak, messaging. Next slide, please. And, nothing in our planning, corporate, environmental spaces really makes a difference, even as a city, unless you connect it to your residents, your people that are at the front door of our zoo and safari park and open that up and have a warm welcome. If you've seen anybody in red, these are sort of our heartbeat of everything that goes on. There are volunteers. One of the things I'll pass around here, and maybe in the future, if it's not an issue, I could post it as once I get it approved. We have a team member behavior change toolkit. So this is going to be around conservation sustainability messaging that our team members and volunteers are geared with to suggest better language, take conservation action home with you. We don't want that experience to just be a price tag and a couple of souvenirs and you go home. We want it to be such a wild experience. You want to bring it to your space. So next slide, please. So we take the trainings, the resources, the seminars, the lectures, the whole kit and caboodle about how we are within ourselves trying to tune and align within our own sustainability strategy between 3,000 employees, over 450,000 folks that are members, we have donating members at 500,000 in total, but this is what it's about. It's about creating a world-class experience for our guests, tourists, residents to come, find parking, enjoy one heck of a day, and be able to have a couple fast facts or things they learned about related to sustainability that go on behind the scenes. That's a little bit about my job. I don't get to hang out with koalas or capybaras on the regular, but I get to do a little part towards making it a more amenable space. Next slide, please. And now the table. This is some of the alignment we see within our own strategy and the CAC. I'm not going to read it all. On the left-hand side, you'll see our Zoo Wildlife Alliance core 8 working groups and strategies. And then I tried my best to try to connect it to direct programs or some terminology aligned with city values. There's tons of alignment from water to energy, greenhouse gas management. So that's why I'm here. And that's why we're always looking forward to seeing what the city's doing and how we can support and align. Next slide, please. And yeah, so this is not just, solely guest facing or solely behind. I mean, we meet monthly to talk about supply chain. What are we purchasing? Does it go in the trash, the recycling, the compost? What about those plush dolls? What is the recycled content on them? And so we're becoming more attuned. And one of the last things I'll say about city alignment is the ZEMBOP that is out. I believe it's new leases of the city and renewed leases have to comply. So I believe this month we're actually coming to council to renew our zoo lease to take into account a lot of the parking changes and stuff like that. So the zoo will need to comply with that, and we're already talking about it and getting our heads together to tie in our electrification, sustainability strategy. And then I'm sure we'll be touching base with the city, just to make sure we're going in the right direction. Next slide, please. And then, yeah, lastly, I just want to give a huge shout out to years of work to bring one of the most incredible animal and specifically elephant experiences. We have tons of sustainability, reuse, recycle, and just featured elements both in the habitat for them, as well as the Mukano log house, which is abutted right next to the elephant pond, where you can watch and enjoy sustainability and a nice beverage, a meal, and watch elephants have a great time. So next slide, and I think that's all I've got. So yeah, thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. And leading off on our call it a series of us giving attention and acknowledgement to some amazing organizations in the city that are working on sustainability and make sure our climate action plan and safety plan is being recognized in the spaces. So thank you for starting it off with that. That was great. Any questions?
Oh, boy. I prepared for the presentation, no question. What's up, Sydney?
No, this is awesome. Super excited to finally hear that there's a sustainable plan for the zoo. I have a question about, maybe it's because I'm going to talk a little bit about the Community Forest Advisory Council, but it seems like there's a lot of potential for reforestation, particularly on 18,000 acres?
1,800.
1,800 acres. Okay. Is there a thought about that, or maybe that's in like a few years plan?
So of the 1,800, not all of it is guessed. You pay a ticket and you can explore some of its biological reserve. That's how we got that much space. So there's a lot of endangered species and stuff like that where, for example, like snakes or some others, they might like a tree, but they prefer a rock and hot, dry, arid. So yes, we're going to continue to develop the space. I have to be careful with what I'm saying. There's no new development like that. But like I said, we're looking at a lot of financial sustainability investments to make both the zoo and park a little bit more financially sustainable in the long run.
Well, even in the zoo, which is near Balboa Park, that is more concrete, right?
So the zoo is actually, if you were to look from a bird's eye view on Google Maps, you probably really can't even see other than the entrance in a couple areas. That's why we're not planning solar for really anywhere internally within the zoo. We're looking at maybe some other areas because it is just a huge shade canopy, which is great for the experience. But solar, some other things, it makes it a little bit of a challenge where the safari park, not as many trees and a lot more space. So
How about second one?
Tanisha, you're getting ahead of us. Yeah. No, so we're looking at all spaces, including parking lot, which typically is a slam dunk when it comes to solar carports. So I'm reading my notes. My laptop.
Perfect. Kelly?
I just wanted to clarify, the zoo, of course, is within the city of San Diego, and as you mentioned, is leased property from the city. Is the safari park in the city? What's the?
So it's technically an Escondido,
okay,
but it is on a operating agreement with the city. So it's on a city lease technically. But they're separate leases. I believe we're starting with the zoo now.
Okay.
And then we'll follow through.
And of course, administratively, you are responsible for both. Right?
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Can't wait to see the elephants.
Me too. I haven't even seen it.
Where are the elephants? Which site?
Well, we have elephants at both. Safari Park up in Escondido is the one that's opening. Elephant Valley. Yeah, March 5th. It's gonna be really fun.
Cool.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from anybody else on the floor? Yep. No, and then going online. Those visiting us, anything, any hands?
Just wanted to say I love this. Thank you for the presentation. I grew up in Escondido and went to I know it as the Wild Animal Park. I went there, growing up a lot, and it's fantastic what you guys are doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Doreen?
Hi, thank you. Yeah, I've been a Zoom member since I moved to California early 90s. And I'm holding my breath waiting, trying to wait for my granddaughter before I see Elephant Alley. Try not to jump there on the first day. But do you guys, is the new path ADA friendly? The bridge that's going over the entrance? Over
Yes,
the
the Elephant Valley, yes.
Okay, it is ADA. Okay, great. Thank you. And I wish, you guys promoted your botanical tours just a little bit more because that would be related and not a lot of people don't know that the zoo has a free botanical tour and that
Oh,
the
yeah.
safari has a free one.
Thank you, Doreen. Good job.
Mission accomplished.
Thank you, no, it's great, and my own personal, I stayed the night
You did
at the Roaring Snore twice. Did it once with the kids for their birthday, the same birthday, so let's just go do this. And then another time again, and both are great. The lions, you hear them early in the morning, so we can do a retreat, but I mean.
Oh, that's great.
So thank you again, Dustin, for that, and starting off on a really great note. It was awesome, thank you. Okay, so moving on to item 8, as our Climate Advisory Board work plan activities. Our Vice Chair, Ms. Kelly Linden, will present a summary of the work plan activities that were agreed to at the February 3rd, 2026 meeting, and explain how work plan materials will be coordinated and provide an opportunity to update assignments. No one's going to be taking, it's just a discussion.
Yeah, so we covered a lot of ground last meeting. So I just wanted to recap what we did. There was a few people who weren't able to attend last time. There were some people who raised their hand many times. I want to give them a moment to see if they want to change their mind on anything. We love the ambition and the excitement. So I just kind of wanted to just take a step back and just sort of reinforce what we set out. Remember, our work plan is intended to last until the end of next fiscal year. So it's roughly a year, just over a year. It's not just this calendar year, it'll last until next June. So we have time to get through all of these things. We'll do a readout in the fall of the previous year, but then the plan still will continue. Next page, please. So this is the work plan we approved, just a summary table that was drawn from it. You may hear us refer occasionally to, objective 6, objective 4. This is what it's referring to, just as a shorthand when we talk about some of these different areas. Some of them we're intending to lead on and take a more substantial role. Others we're going to be in more of a monitor mode or opportunistic, depending on circumstances, to try and help manage our load. Next page. So one of the things we decided was for each of these 6 objectives to keep track of how we're doing. We set up some KPIs or some metrics in terms of just monitoring, counting how many activities are done under each objective, keeping notes so that when it is time to do our annual readout, we'll have that easy access. So I have gone ahead and set up files for each of the objectives. This is the list of people who raised their hand, who said they would help us keep each tracker up to date. I've had to be very careful with the access because of Brown Act, so not everybody can see everything. The ask here is really just probably once a month, maybe shortly after this meeting, maybe when it's recorded, if you need to refer back to it, update the tracker. What did we talk about? Did we cover one of the items that's on your list? Did somebody have a public comment that they made on something? Was there a letter that we sent and we heard back on the results? Or maybe nothing happened, right? And that's okay too. We don't necessarily expect activities every month, but just to sort of just do a check with yourself and just say, did anything happen? What was it? Each a spreadsheet that has a couple of tabs. There's an overview just to remind you of kind of what the objective is. There's a tab that talks about some of the different initiatives we're working on, and you can just update notes to show what's in progress, maybe what got completed. And then for the specific metrics that we're measuring, a column to just type in numbers. Maybe think about how you're going to collect those. I think most of them you can collect by just reviewing the minutes and the agendas and slides from each of the meetings. This is not meant to be a heavy lift. Don't make it bigger than it needs to be. Really, it's meant to be maybe a half hour of your time once a month, just refresh it. It may also motivate you if like, we haven't been doing much, maybe we should be, but that's a different issue. Questions on this for any of the people? Anybody?
Did you send out links to?
I sent links. If you missed it or, whatever got buried in your mailbox, just reach out to me and I can resend. You may be able to see it on your Google Drive, things shared with me. It may show up if you want to do a little exploration to find it. But yeah, I'll resend it if anybody's missing. Anybody have any desire to potentially get someone to take this on instead of them, or is everybody okay with this list so far? And you don't have to say it during the meeting. You can tell Tanisha or I after as well.
I'm good.
Okay, thanks. Okay, next slide. The other thing we decided to do was have board liaisons for each of the 3 major boards that are related to us. We put 2 people for each one. The concept is to just stay in touch with that board, monitor their meetings, and same thing, their agendas, their topics, skim the recording if there is one. You don't necessarily have to sit through the whole thing, and do a quick readout each meeting. So we're going to try that this month for the first time, for folks to give a quick readout. The idea is to keep it quick, a minute or 2. Part of what we're trying to do is understand, for example, what just came up. Resiliency Board, one of the major work plan items is stormwater this year. So that way we were able to provide some advice to the community that had a question on it, that there is a board that's specifically looking at that. So the idea is to stay coordinated between the boards. There's also the option to uplift any actions they may be taking. If they're sending in a letter, we may want to consider endorsing that letter in some fashion. We have an example that JD is going to bring up. So the idea is just to stay connected and figure out, climate is a broader topic that we are. These others are more narrow topics. So they get to do a deeper dive, but we might be able to, leverage what each of us are working on to be a little more effective in what we're doing. And if you do want to take an action, you have to ask Tanisha to add it to the agenda. The standing item will just be a readout and information only. If you want to have a vote or send a letter, you'll need to ask Tanisha to add it to the agenda. Okay, on that one. All right, next. All right, and then last month we did form 2 ad hoc committees on 2 of the areas that we plan to lead on. Both of them had very long names, as you heard earlier. The idea was to just very narrowly define the next step in each of those areas. For the one related to building decarb was to figure out, which things staff is working on in order to align our activities with what staff is doing. And the other one was on kind of a newer area around CAP transparency and public understanding. That's so broad, but to maybe pick something, 1 or 2 things to bring forward. We'll have if there's an active ad hoc committee, we'll have a status slot in our agenda just to give an update. You may not be done yet, you may be in progress, but it's just a chance to be able to just give a quick update on what's going on within your committee. The expectation is they will not last a long time, 2-3 months. They'll meet their objective, we'll dissolve them, and then based on the output, we'll decide what the next steps are. So that's part of what we'll do. If you are ready to sort of make a recommendation and take a next step, again, that will take a vote. We'll need to make sure to put that on the agenda. If you want to provide slides at some point when you're doing your final readout, we've given you a template. I set up a place to keep your notes. Again, you got links. If somebody needs another copy of that link, let me know. Questions on the 2 ad hoc committees? All right, next. Okay, we'll talk about this a little more, I think, at the end when we're planning the next meetings. I think would be the right way to do this. As you recall, we decided we'd like to encourage each board member to bring forward a topic at some point in the next period of time. Dustin went first and brought in his zoo topic, which was great. It was a topic that he personally was involved in, but it could be something from the community, maybe some group in your district, maybe something you have some personal engagement with, or somebody who does. The idea is to figure it out. They can present remotely. They do not have to attend in person. We do want to make sure it's relevant for the work plan and tied in with the CAP and the work that we do. Targeting 10 to 15 minutes. We always have to be careful with our agenda, time management, plus a little Q&A. So we created just sort of, I'll call it a pre-populated list, but we can play around with this list. Like if you're not ready yet, Ron, next month, we'll find somebody else, or and things like that. So, but this sort of also kind of says, ooh, I'm coming up, I better come up with something, right? So it kind of just gives you a little nudge. And if you have something you want sooner, that's okay too. Like, I think Cindy had something she might want sooner. So we'll go through that in our planning for future meetings agenda item, but that's the general structure that we're thinking is folks will self-select which month they'd like to pick and which topic. We would like to get some information in advance. This is the ideal timing, is a month in advance and 2 weeks in advance. We have a little bit of room, but we are trying to get staff information early for upcoming meetings. So we'll work with you on the details of making sure we've provided what we need for the agenda and the agenda packet each meeting. Questions on this one?
You just said this will be added to the agenda items for future meetings.
Yeah.
So there'll be understanding kind of agenda item for each.
Yeah, so just sort of as you sort of formulate an idea and want to pick a month, that would be the moment to bring it up. And if you want to run the idea by people, are you interested in this one? You know, is this a good one? Like, there's a little bit of room to have a conversation too. The other thing to consider is like, we may occasionally bring in other topics. And so we may find that other topics fill a month and there isn't time for one of yours. So we may even skip a month sometime. So, you know, we'll be flexible based on timeliness of activities. Any other questions on this part? Maybe the last slide. Okay, that's all I had in my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, I think a big part of the submission on the importance of bringing in is because like that first year, right? How we went to all the districts, we were going in and immersing ourselves in that space. So now it's doing a run since we're here to bring it to us. And so we met them, and so now they can meet us, hopefully. We can do that correctly and right. Again, and when it's a month advance, it's because like now, hopefully, if you're gonna be the next month, you knew today who you're gonna at least bring. You don't have to have your slides, but at least you have the idea and knowing it. So that's kind of the hope of the month ahead. So when we look at that list, if you're not ready, please mention it then. So that way we can try to, move ahead and find something to fill. So I don't know what we can call that as far as standing here yet, but climate conscious acknowledgements, we have, it's because I would like to be a standing thing, or we can continue to do that. So we don't have a title yet, but open to ideas for it. Climate corner, I love it. Okay. Any questions on this from anyone here? Board, any questions online? Public comments?
Oh, and last bit was, again, some people weren't here, they didn't get their name on things. If you're interested in joining one of the ad hoc committees or, helping out with a piece, feel free to reach out to Tanisha or I, or just, wait for the next thing to be suggested, and then you can jump into that. There's room for everyone.
I don't see any public comments. So thank you so much, Kelly. We will move on to item 9, which is reports on related boards. All of the board members, some board members were assigned to monitor related city boards and will provide brief informational updates on recent items or relevance to the Climate Advisory Board. Cindy and I had the forestry. I actually was out of town, but I have the notes from it. They actually pretty good at sending not feedback, but their recap. And so one of those things they kind of talked about was they mentioned the Ready Set Grow San Diego, the trees for the community project planted its final tree in San Isidro Park and is now transitioning to maintenance and evaluation. They planted over 4,000 trees is entering this next phase. So which includes sidewalk redesign around existing trees, community forums will be held together and put for this portion of the project. There's a few other things when it comes relating to what our board is. They have something that's coming up with Zone 0. Again, it's not enough I feel like to talk about, but it's something that they're working on with the city's code, and state code has not been approved yet. But there's a new deadline in March to do so. So I may have some information. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna also add a couple things to that.
Yep.
I actually was thinking, I really looked into like, what is it they do, but they're really the primary body for reviewing proposed city tree removals and just maintaining tree health. And a lot of the work that they've done has been in Balboa Park. They're also dealing with the same issue we had last year, which is out of 13 board members, they have 7 vacancies. And it's been vacant for a while. So I feel like it's good to get the word out. It's appointed by the mayor, but it would be good to kind of get the word out on anybody interested.
I might know somebody, but if they've already applied to a different board, would they need to start over again?
I don't know, Andrew.
I would think that their application, I've never applied for it. I believe when you apply for a specific board. So I think they would need to express their interest in this other board you're talking about.
Could you send me the districts? Or
I have it right
all
here.
their appointments you said?
I think they're mostly mayoral appointments, but I think you can apply to different boards.
And maybe just send an email to China and say, hey, I applied to two,
Yeah.
but this is my preference,
Yeah.
or
Okay,
something
we'll
like that.
talk.
Okay, yeah.
One more, I just want to mention the districts that says it's open is 3, 5, 6, and 8. With upcoming vacancies in districts 1 and 4.
That's for the forestry board. right?
That's for the forestry. Ms. Mirza?
Can we get y'all back there to speak up a little bit more for us to hear y'all over here?
Speak louder.
Oh,
louder.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Try not to. Okay, the only thing I would say too about this board in particular is that they meet in the library. I've been there several different times, but it's not online. They're not Zoom, so I don't know how theirs is different from like where ours is, where we had to make sure it was somewhere where public can come into it. We're streaming it for people to see. So is there a reason why theirs don't have to do that? Or they don't have to stream and have kind of the same standing of their board?
So why some city boards don't do online and maybe only do in person. You're not required to stream or do online, you are required to be in person at this point. So we stream online to maximize public attendance and participation because not everybody can come downtown at noon to attend a meeting. So streaming allows us to open up access to more people, but we are not required to stream. We are required to meet in person at this point.
Thank you. Anything else coming on forestry at all? Okay. Maybe I don't know. Okay, moving on to the mobility. Who's doing mobility for
JD and I.
JD? Okay,
Hey, everybody. Sorry I can't be with you in person today, but the mobility board has a letter that they submitted to the mayor on the draft budget for the city. I've given this a read, Dustin. I'm not sure if you've had a chance to read it over, but I'm pretty impressed by how comprehensive it is. And so I think our potential action item could be to put like kind of a cover page on top of it and said, the Climate Advisory Board likes this, or we want to put more emphasis here, or we thought this was missing, but everything else was good, that kind of thing. So one, I guess we should decide today if we all want to review that and vote in our next meeting. And then Kelly, I think maybe we should check with Daniel and see if Mobility Board wants us to do that. Or if they prefer a different process. But how does all that sound? I know you haven't reviewed the letter yet, but go ahead.
Well, it sounds consistent with what we talked about. We don't have the capacity to do a deep dive in mobility. So we may be able to just learn from their deep dive and reinforce the message if we think it's consistent with the views of this board. Does that sound okay?
yeah, and I think it's good to reach out back to them too before we make motions, taking actions.
So put on the agenda next.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, JD. Thank you, Justin.
And so the letter would be included in the next meeting's agenda packet, right? So that the whole board has access to it. Is that the process?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure, because I know we can't send it out to everybody, but
Well, it's already posted on the mobility website as well.
okay. Yeah, so if you all want an advanced look at it, you can go look at it on their website.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
It's in their agenda packet for last month. It's not a separate file.
Thank you.
Moving on to the resiliency board.
Me and Kelly, we had a meeting with the resiliency board and Wells read through the last meeting and they have a 11 member board and they have 3 vacancies on district 4, 5, and 9. They just fill out district number 8. They have a presentation on the climate change implications for homelessness. and a research analyst at the Center of Addictions and Mental Health. It wasn't very well. It could be better. They also mentioned how the board is trying to work with the stormwater piping system, and how they're planning to do an improvement on it. I don't want to continue on it.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. So they had a presentation on stormwater that was somewhat educational. They called it Stormwater 101. And so somebody from Coastkeeper gave the primary presentation, but staff from the city was there as well, Todd. And they basically just said that the city has a system that's got a huge deficit, about $6 billion behind in maintaining that equipment. Or they have a $6 billion system and they're $4 billion deficit, and they're just getting further behind every year. That's possibly why folks like Doreen are seeing what they're seeing. And there's just a revenue issue. And so there's some public discussion around ways to address that, but the board as well is trying to understand what's going on around stormwater and whether they would like to make any recommendations about what the city might do. And then on their work plan, they just approved their work plan. They had stormwater as one priority. The other was to sort of, they're new like us, to kind of build their board capacity and process. And then they as well are doing topics every meeting. They've actually literally planned their entire year already tentatively and filled in topics all year long, which is pretty amazing. They're very organized, but they're trying to, work their way through a bunch of different resiliency topics. So yeah, good things going on there.
A question about the stormwater, because I think at one point the city was thinking of doing a stormwater fee that never got approved.
Right. There was some discussion on the mechanisms by which revenue could be raised. If it's a parcel, it depends on, if there's rules about the number of votes you need, depending upon what pathway it goes. And so only some of them are likely to be successful. So I think the city had looked at potentially doing something a year ago, and they decided, or maybe it was two, decided not to at that time.
Yeah, I think Coastkeeper, I was on the board Coastkeeper at one point.
Yeah, so there's some upcoming things that they're considering. You could perhaps watch the thing, or I could tell you offline some of the mechanics of what they're looking at.
Thank you. Any question on any of that from any of our board here? Or that are online? Any public comments? We're moving on to our next item. Yes. Okay, moving on to item 10 is our ad hoc committee status. So the chair provides us updates for both the building decarbonization will align with staff to plan and sequence kind of advisory board engagement. And that will be Pierce.
Yes, I can give an update on that. So we met on February 13th, and really the main objective of our first meeting was just to further define the kind of finite objectives and deliverables for that ad hoc committee. Just to state again, the main objective of the committee is to align with city staff to better understand what initiatives are underway and are planned over the next year so that we can align the climate advisory board's initiatives and future agendas according to that plan. And so we had identified, just in looking through the city's planning department website, a couple of key initiatives that we were hoping to get Andrew, your team, to come in and whether that be through the one of our future agendas for the climate advisory board. That's kind of up to the group, I think, to discuss, but we were hoping to get kind of an update and just overview of your strategic plan and where certain initiatives within that strategic plan are specifically aligned with the climate action plan. So the championing sustainability and the neighborhood, I can't remember the exact term for the other initiative that's about kind of decarbonization of the built environment, but hoping to get a presentation on just where those sit. I think the planning department also has an initiative called transitioning to healthy and sustainable buildings, and that's about kind of the existing building decarbonization efforts, and that the website says that work plan or that strategic plan is supposed to be released this year, 2026. So just hoping to get an update on where that sits and if there's anything that's underway that this board could have visibility to. So those were the two main items that we were hoping to just learn more about so that we can plan the CAB future agendas and be able to provide input if possible before they're finalized.
Thank you. Anything on that before we move on to the next one?
So we were hoping to invite staff to our next ad hoc meeting. There was some dialogue around whether that made sense or not. Should we talk about that here, or is that something we can finalize offline?
I was gonna bring that up at the end after.
Okay, fair enough.
All
right.
I just wanted to mention in terms of the reference to the strategic plan, just to clarify, so the city as a whole has a strategic plan with various objectives that basically all city department work plans should be implementing. And so when you see references on our website to the strategic plan, it's that city strategic plan is like where our work program items fit into that. So the city planning department doesn't have a strategic plan. We have our work program and our work plan that we then demonstrate how those various items, like which aspects of the city's strategic plan that's implementing or carrying forward.
Thanks for clarifying.
Just to
that.
kind of
Yeah.
clarify the relationship between those and the different terms that the city throws around for different things.
Thanks for clarifying that.
Sorry, so there's a strategic plan and a work plan. A work plan reflects what's gonna be worked on, and strategic plan is like
The broader. framework.
Yeah.
5-year.
Strategic plan is citywide. It's the vision for the city and what every department in the city is working towards. It's like the vision of the strategic plan. And then the city planning department, we have our own work plan or work program, however you want to define it, that lays out what we're doing over the next year, what initiatives we're working on, and specifying how those initiatives implement that broader vision in the strategic plan.
Does each department also have their own work plan?
I don't know that all of them do, but we do.
And you may recall, Andrew gave a presentation, I think it was in November, as we were working on our work plan to give us we're working on the CAB work plan. He gave us an update on the planning department's work plan. And he hit, a half dozen different items. And so part of it is there's too many. And so this committee wanted to sort of pick which one to kind of focus in on. And we're trying to just drill into a couple of them to understand which one is most active and where we can bring the most value.
I think maybe just to tie together a little bit more, we do our work program on a fiscal year basis, so from July 1st to June 30th. So when we came in November, we were going over what's in the current fiscal year 26 program. We're now well into planning for FY 27. So I think it's probably pretty good timing in the near future for us to kind of come back and give you the latest information on what the department's planning with respect to whether it's building decarbonization or climate action plan implementation. We're ready to do that soon.
But specifically on the handful of items that this ad hoc committee identified an interest in learning more, would you be able to come to an ad hoc meeting? And it doesn't even have to be slides necessarily. It could just be a discussion, just so we can better understand the near term, the kind of timing of those activities.
Yeah, I think whether or not it's an ad hoc committee meeting, I think we need to kind of talk about Brown Act and other things, which I don't know if we want to do that now or.
I was gonna let.
I'm sorry, I know you wanted to wait on that. So,
Yeah.
okay. Okay.
Thank you. So then moving on to Chair Mateo Dustin, which is doing the climate action and transparency and public understanding. And
Thank you. So there's a few of us. We did not have a chance to meet last month, but there was some email correspondence. We're all really busy. Something in the lunar events pulled us apart, but it's coming back next month. But we had some observations that we had consensus on, as well as some areas of focus that we want to meet in person next month and bring back to the board. So on a high level, once again, our objective for the public is the climate action plan transparency and the public's understanding of it. We sort of decoupled the two. Into CAP transparency and public understanding. The dashboard is extremely strong. That box is checked as it relates to transparency. I think how we go about coloring in the box is really important and relates to public understanding. At least for myself and maybe some of the others, when I joined this board, you take a deep dive into the city's repositories and website and try to get as much information as you can. Get a little lost and then you find your place, but then how does it relate to the ecosystem of what's going on in the city? So that's really important. And some of the District 8 community conversations, just very informally as I'm picking up a burrito or going and having a coffee or picking up laundry, asking people, hey, you know, it's an owner, it's a manager, it's a resident, did you know about this? Trying to be a little bit more positive and proactive with outreach. And no, we didn't know about that. I do these things at home and sort of disconnected and hear things from the city. You know, I try to flash the city website, try to give them as much information as I can, but you know, that's where visuals, I think that's kind of my hat I need to wear on this board and in this chair is about the storytelling aspect. I think there could be some vast improvement there. There is plenty of web pages online that have visual elements, are very compelling, have icons, so on and so forth. But I think there's a verbal and integrated visual component of what is the city of San Diego doing to accentuate itself, not just any other city and any other climate change, but you know, one unique to us. And it's really big on what Tanisha does in her communities and always is encouraging us to get involved. And so I will say eventually people's the gaze in their eyes went away and they got engaged and said, this really So trying to normalize some of the language in there, it's extremely heavy. And I think the dashboard is the best place for that to live. But it's a tool. If you overuse it, it becomes dull unless you sharpen it. And if you let it sit, it rusts. And I think that's some of the feedback that we've had as a board and as an ad hoc we're going to lean into next month is working with the city and refining some of our areas of focus. There's 3 that we found. Clarifying the update cadence. We've talked about it a few times, but how is that status here rippling out to what is actually taking place on the dashboard itself? I mentioned it several times, but the public facing storytelling, whether that's a mayor position or just some effort, I have some resources to kind of help in that regard. And then last one, Ronald and I kind of aligned on was just, we're kind of talking about it, but improving the visibility and linkages of the cross-department coordination and feedback. I think if the public understood the amount of time and effort and resources it takes just to get y'all talking together between departments, they're going to understand a little bit more about why a dashboard only gets updated once a fiscal year or, you know, quarterly in some areas. But I think there's just a big emphasis on the dashboard and not enough on the actual story that's happening. We're interested as a committee and a board to see that dashboard updated, but the public, they have a whole other life and they want to know how to plug in or, you know, what is it, what bucket is still on, you know, and a lot of language is just really right over their head where I'm spending 20 minutes just trying to explain decarbonization of facilities. I think they just get it, you know, but you know, they don't have it. So a couple of resources just to kind of marry, you know, the feedback with, you know, some things for staff to maybe look into while we as an ad hoc gather and really try to hunker down on maybe one deliverable or 2. There's a couple, and I think it's within the wheelhouse what the city has assets and resources for. One is called the Tennyson Thrives Story Map. So this is going to be a little bit more towards stormwater capital projects, pavement, you know, restoration projects, things that are really going to impact our neighborhoods and our communities and Doreen's hoods, if you will. But this Tennyson Thrives Story Map is just ArcGIS, and it allows either the city or the community based on zip code and in that area where the project's coming up to share stories. Very qualitative. It's not a dashboard, quantitative, metric heavy thing. I grew up on the street and it's flooded for the last 4 years. And why has, you know, creates that dialogue. But it could also be a way the city pushes updates and builds on some of the GIS and mapping components. But check it out. Tennyson Thrives. It's in the East Bay. The other one is where I come from, Sonoma County. I was sustainability manager for a small city of Roanoke Park. We had the most GHG reduction since 1991, but we were not the coolest as it pertains to the storytelling and the ethos of a city and sustainability. The city of Petaluma was. I'm sure city staff is familiar with Cool Petaluma and the quasi, you know, kind of similar here, but the board, the nonprofit, the city to help build that engagement piece. I think those are 2 resources, both on the capital and construction projects that are developing to just keep people engaged to and fro from the city. And then Cool Petaluma is just to take a step back and say, we have all these tools. How are we packaging it and creating actionable opportunities for our residents to get with it, you know? So a lot of words. If any other ad hoc, and I'm the chair, but if anybody else has anything, yeah, go
That's
for it,
awesome.
please.
Thank you so much. I thought
I'm
that was
talking today,
great. Yeah,
guys.
it was really great, kind of just wrapping it up, but I wanted to ask the staff too, if like, in addition to all of that, I think it's also hard understanding that staff has limited resources. Is there potential for partnerships with other organizations, the zoo or other nonprofits, like, for example, San Diego Mountain Film Festival, where a lot of what they do is focus on storytelling, help message some of this information, so that's not like, now you want us also to do storytelling. We can't hire another storyteller, we don't have that budget for marketing and branding. So, but leveraging existing organizations, and sorry to be like Constantine, to have them also tell the story of what this is. There, I know we've chatted a teeny bit about it, but is there an appetite or how would be best for us?
And the city's always open to partnering with other organizations, and we see that all the time. What you're suggesting with sort of hiring an organization like that to do this work for us, I mean, I think it would really depend on the details of what you're suggesting.
Not necessarily hiring, just operating that hiring that is complicated. I mean, sure, on small amounts, but I think mostly just in terms of you have nonprofits who are working on your side to tell a story. So I'll bring back, kind of the, electric vehicle charging stations, right? That we had talked about last year, and it's hard to get going. But then there are organizations who are excited to share that and then this is exactly something that the city is working on. And so, create more of a collaborative and then active focus on messaging that information instead of just the city rolling out on a dashboard or on the website, which most people have a hard time. It is really hard to.
But they're not engaged, and that's your point, is how are they engaged? So they're checking, we want those metrics to be, wow, they want to buy or drop this many emissions, right? So.
No, but I like the idea of collaborating. I think it's interesting point. I think that when the city is not in the budget, collaborating becomes volunteering. Unless it's already known ahead of time that this is what's happening, can I apply for a grant with the city? Like, and this is what I want to do, is I want to help to provide for the dashboard and do the storytelling, and just knowing, as long as I think organizations know that the city is open to, oh yeah, like, to say, yes, we want that partner, because we can't just apply for a grant and not already talk to you. So, and I think that might be another space where on the dashboard, I don't think I've noticed it, but that we can actually collaborate with something. This is one where I think it's a great storytelling, but I think there's probably several different things that cities probably could if they just knew it's open.
Well, and it's a positive for the organization, to be honest, to be viewed, so it's like a plus. So beyond the grant, I do think that's a separate thing, but like, if you have an organization like, oh, well, we're working with the city to highlight this, it also gives the organization, more,
share voice.
like share voice, but also the reputation for everybody involved. But I just think that that's a soft area we should really pursue, particularly more with the storytelling, instead of yes, it's higher marketing, or yes, it's your grant. Like, that's really hard to do for many, many reasons on all ends. But like, really trying to identify those soft gray areas.
All right, thank you. Before moving on from this item, I just want to give space to staff, because I know it was mentioned for trying to turn the ad hoc into a kind of a standing, as a Brown Act. But what that would entail is means that you have to meet in person. And I know you're mentioning, which is great, but if it's not going to be every month, then it becomes an issue. And so we were hoping that the language we had already, by having a long title to show kind of that that this was for a purpose for a short amount of time, was going to leave it the way that it is. But I just definitely want to make sure the staff that we address that now, so we know how to go forward.
So ad hoc subcommittees. The purpose of the Brown Act is to ensure that we have open public meetings and public benefit, not only from kind of the result of the dialogue, but hearing the dialogue itself and being able to participate and inform that dialogue. And so ad hoc subcommittees under the Brown Act are really intended to be used, I would say, pretty infrequently. And it's so things like, if an event is being planned, or work program is being developed or bylaws, but when you're talking about elements that are part of the core focus of the board, even if it's a discrete aspect of that core focus, then you're looking more at work that should be done in a standing subcommittee context that does have that open nature where the public can be participating and hearing not only, like I said, the results of the discussion, but the discussion itself and informing. So I know it's challenging. You are all very graciously volunteering your time, and you all have lives and jobs and everything else aside from that. And so it's difficult to find standing times for meetings, but I think, looking at maybe some of the reoccurring broader themes that are coming up in the ad hoc subcommittees around whether it's decarb or cap update or what have you, and looking at establishing a standing subcommittee that can address that topic more broadly and whatever finite items come up within that broader topic would be something that we would want to look at. And the subcommittee doesn't have to meet monthly. I mean, the board can define how frequently that standing subcommittee meets. It could be bi-monthly or less as needed. We have other city boards that have standing subcommittees, and sometimes those meetings are pretty frequently canceled for lack of items. But they're there, and they're the place where those discussions happen on work items that are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board.
Okay, so we don't have a lot more time today, so I want to be careful to figure out what's important to talk about here versus what we can do offline. Do you believe that the current 2 ad hoc committees we have are sufficiently scoped to maintain as ad hoc to get through those initial discussions? I imagine they'll last another month or 2 and then be done. They're very well defined.
They are defined. Again, they kind of speak to larger items within the purview of the board of decarb, of cap, of how climate work is done in the city. And so even though that work has been narrowly defined, it's part of a broader picture. And I mean, I would recommend that they be standard. Okay, I would recommend it.
I'd like to suggest that we leave them as ad hoc, and maybe offline you could provide the Brown Act references that would show that they're not able to be ad hoc, because I feel like a lot of it is convention and previous patterns. I worry that our work will be slowed down if we do that. And so I'd like to suggest that we continue with the current ones. Maybe part of the recommendation that comes out of those is whether they would recommend the standing committee to take on the remainder, and whether there's enough interest in doing it that way. I think once SB 707 has been approved by the city and we adopt it, if we were to adopt it in this committee, that would allow the meetings to at least be remote, even though they're still public. That might be the right timing, is when the next step in our work plan happens after these. But I think for the current 2, I'd like to suggest that they are within the definition of ad hoc, and that they complete their current mission, and that we look a little more carefully as we create the next committee that may come out of that. Would that be acceptable? And if not, let's talk offline. Okay.
Thank you. So the only time I'm sure this is gonna be revisited. So I look forward to talking to you. But just giving time to and making sure that we get the rest of our items, we're gonna go ahead and move forward. Somebody has like something dire they have to mention on that. Okay. So moving on to item 11, is city activity supporting climate action plan implementation. City staff will provide an informational overview of some of the city activities anticipated over the next several months that support climate action plan implementation. No action will be taken.
Sure, happy to do that. You want this to be pretty brief?
Yeah.
Okay. I know you have another agenda item.
5 minutes.
Maybe, so the way that this table is presented, and it does go on to the next page, it's going from soonest to later. So maybe just the stuff in March, I'll just go over really quickly. So actually, we have a typo on here, but where it says March 2nd for the building code item, that actually went to city council this morning, since the 3rd, for the first reading. So as part of the city's adoption of the statewide building code, the green building code, we included a couple local energy related requirements. We also have a couple as part of the city's 2026 land development code that's moving forward to a committee hearing this Thursday and tracking towards a council meeting probably in April, but it's a little far out for that yet. Next on the list would be the status update of our climate action implementation plan, which has been discussed here in past meetings. That's going to a council meeting this coming Monday, March 9th. And I think I'll just close it out with, and of course, you can review the rest of the information. But the more on the mobility side with the comprehensive speed management plan, we don't have a confirmed date yet, but that's also anticipated to go to city council this month. So a lot happening in March, and then you'll see there's some more items on here in coming months. And of course, we'll continue to keep this updated each meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very helpful.
It's very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, I think the energy service, general services folks that spoke last month said they would be working with you to add their items on there as well.
Yeah, we're in regular contact with them and we'll get those on there as they get confirmed.
Great, thank you. That's very helpful. I've referenced it several times already.
Good, glad it's helpful.
Thank you. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and move on to item 12. A recommendation letter encouraging continued city engagement on neighborhood decarbonization pilots. The board will discuss and may take action to approve a recommendation letter encouraging continued engagement by the city in Senate Bill 1221, a neighborhood decarbonization pilots, including participation in informational sessions and coordination with San Diego Gas and Electric to advance pilot opportunities within the city in support of climate action plan goals.
So quick story time here. You may recall, it was just about a year ago, this board had a presentation on this bill. It's referred to as neighborhood decarbonization pilots. The idea is rather than just electrifying one home at a time, you could electrify a block at a time. And you choose those blocks based on gas pipelines that have expensive upgrades coming up. And instead of spending the money on the pipeline replacement, the money is redirected to electrify those homes. And so there's a series of, it's an extended process that the CPUC is going through right now to define where that can happen, how it can happen, you know, how all the details will work. So there's been many steps along the way. The city has been participating in them, which is terrific. These are voluntary pilots. They're identifying census tracts that have pipelines that will be replaced. By the middle of the year, the CPUC is supposed to identify how this program will work. There's an information session that Andrew mentioned earlier next Monday to continue to have take public input, not only from individuals and organizations, but also from local governments to understand their interest in supporting this. This letter is just reinforcing that we think it's a terrific opportunity for the city, particularly since it would likely be funded by the savings instead of replacing the pipelines. And so this would be a great way to advance the city's climate action plan and to just encourage the city to continue to engage, to provide a written comment or a verbal comment at the hearing next week. And to continue to work with SDG&E to identify which parts of the city might make sense, to definitely be thinking about the areas that were impacted by the flooding and some of the stormwater issues, as well as utilizing a skilled and trained local workforce for getting that work done. So the letter is reinforcing our interest in this and having the city continue to engage.
So this letter was sent out hopefully early enough. We're working really hard. Everyone's doing a great job of making sure to get out pretty in advance. It's not just like a couple of days, but at least a week to stay out. So hopefully you had a chance to take a look at it, so we can take an action on it. Just for given time, it's a really small window for willing to look at it, but I don't want anyone to have to feel like they're being pressured to vote for something that they don't feel comfortable with. Yes.
Where is the, was it sent to us? Sorry.
It was part of the agenda packet.
Oh, okay.
That's
fantastic.
Yeah, it sounds like a great
Yeah.
program.
Yeah.
And this is our second letter. Like we
Yeah.
initially provided a similar letter in support of this program right after we heard that. So this is kind of a subsequent letter that has very similar language, if anyone has concerns over that.
No concerns.
No concerns, okay. So.
Wait, can I just
Yeah, let's put-
have a minute?
Uh-huh.
I think for us at IBW 569, we just want to, do our best to ensure that you know, I noticed in the letter, it does say skilled and trained. That's great. But we do want to make sure that a local workforce is doing this work and that, you know, it's those that have the formal training and also the apprentices that are in a joint apprenticeship, training program. Um, I want to try and avoid kind of what happened with the 40 sites at the city. So make sure that, you know, the proper trades are doing the work and that, you know, it's a local workforce. So thank you for this letter.
So Christina, are you recommending, yes, to move with the letter, but to modify to make sure we're adding the word local?
It is in there.
It's in there.
Yeah,
I may
it's
not
in-
have said it out loud.
It's in
Sorry if I
there.
missed it.
A skilled and trained local workforce is in there.
I'm sure that's something
So
we need to
I was just doubling down on it and saying thank
Perfect.
you for putting that in there. You know, Kelly's been really thorough as always, and I spoke with somebody else who's heavily involved in the working on this as well outside of the city. And we're gonna make sure and stay on top of this to make sure it gets it done right. So thank you for this, guys.
Can I make a motion to adopt?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
The motion and then Cindy seconding it, thank you. So, all those in favor of moving forward to send out the recommendation letter, encouraging continued city engagement on neighborhood decarbonization pilots? In favor?
Aye.
Against? Abstaining? Thank you, so we'll go ahead and move forward and sending that recommendation letter out, thank you so much. Moving on to item 13 is our proposed agenda items for future meetings.
Yeah, so I have a spreadsheet. Do you mind if I share it? Or do I have permission? Try again. That's similar to the one you saw earlier. It's next month, could you confirm, Andrew, do we have the SD-REN confirmed for next month?
They've said they're available at STRen.
Okay,
Probably not 100% confirmed until we publish the agenda, but they have said they're available.
okay, so I'll take the question mark off. This is something we requested just about a year ago. I think Mahela actually was behind that. It just was timing for them in terms of their readiness to have a public information around this. So I think we've been looking forward to that for a while. That may be enough of a topic, or you may even want to take credit for it, Mahela, and call that one yours since you recommended it. I don't, you know, unless somebody has one that they think is kind of bite-sized that they might want to do next month, that might be enough. And if anybody wants to take a slot coming up, this is kind of where you can pencil your name in. So thoughts on this, Mahela, and whether you want to kind of help in any way, maybe guide that, or you know, you're welcome to pick another slot in another topic.
I do have another slot in mind.
Okay, very good. That's fine.
Yeah. Well, this one last year is Mahela's check.
Sorry, this is for the topics, right?
So this is to find somebody to come in and talk for 10 to 15 minutes. You had mentioned you were interested
Yeah,
in
I
Wild
am.
Coast coming in.
They are, I'm trying to make them.
Do you have a date
confirm.
yet?
They're gonna give me a date soon.
Okay, so we'll pencil you in when we
Yeah,
get a
yeah.
date. Here's our
I see.
upcoming
Got
meetings. Hopefully they're on the calendar for folks. JD's been great about that. If we do the Ren next month, that kind of gives a little room. Is there anybody that would be ready by May to bring in a topic that you'd like to suggest? I don't know if Ron, if this got a little fire under you to think of things, or if you're still thinking about it.
I could, I haven't set the date yet, but I know who I'm planning on, but I could ask them if they'd be ready in May.
I can put a question mark next to it as a maybe from Whitney for that month, for May 12th.
May 12th is the
Okay,
day.
and maybe I'll just kind of slide these down as the months go by. Does anybody else have a topic that they may do sooner versus later? Maybe I'll put Cindy near the top. Since she has a topic, she just needs to slot it in.
I just need them to confirm a date. Just send them to the email right now.
What was yours, Mahela?
I was thinking about the San Diego Climate Week and having them in sooner rather than later so that we could start thinking about an event that we might want to do.
Yeah, and they reached out to us.
Oh, did they?
They sent a note to Christina and I, so I can forward that to you.
That'd be great.
They're very interested in us getting involved, you know, we also forwarded it to Dustin. It might be part of the public understanding, might be through that channel, but maybe just a general understanding of it would be helpful too. So is that a bite-sized thing that we want to squeeze in next month? Or you want a whole month, you think it's more of a,
My ideal would be if we would have enough time to talk with them or for them to present and then to us have a board discussion about what we might want to do.
because it's October,
It's October.
so it's not that, the months will go by very
The months
quickly.
will go by, yeah, so maybe June.
Okay, or is yours timely, Whitney, or you have flexibility?
I might have, yeah, no, I have flexibility.
So maybe we could,
Maybe May.
so do you want to look into maybe doing that in May?
Yeah. Great.
And JD, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I have the topic of docked e-bike sharing ready to go. It will take some time. It's not going to be 10 minutes. You definitely need 15, 20 minimum. And then we'll ask the Climate Advisory Board for a brief letter of support too. Nothing long and technical, but a paragraph or so.
Okay, do you want me to pencil you in for a month? I could pencil you in for July, but if one of the others don't work out, we can do you sooner.
Yeah, that works. We have a presentation ready, so if somebody wants to move or go later, we can go.
Okay, yeah, because we may find that some things are timely and we end up bumping them up because they're just timely, you know, if others are flexible. So I think it's good to have a little bit of both.
Just give me a time check, you know, about 4, maybe 3.
Did anybody else have one that we're ready to put on the list or pencil in a month, or at least a topic off to the side? If not, just be thinking about
I
it.
do.
Oh, Christina, yeah, what you got?
Yeah, mine is with the climate action campaign, and the electrification resolutions we've been doing at the school districts.
Ooh, I love that.
I just need to find a date. So I'm trying to find out right now as we speak. August 4th.
All right, you're gonna pencil yourself in there, okay?
Thank you.
I'm gonna put CAC just to make it fit better.
You could put my tentative topic. I mean, it's still somewhat tentative, but I was gonna bring in the director of the Mission Trails Regional Park Foundation.
Okay.
They're doing great conservation work and preservation work
It has a
in District 7.
has a climate action plan connected stuff. Great, love it. All right, that was very successful. We got some volunteers there. So we'll refine this each month. Feel free to reach out to Tanisha or I. In the meantime, if like something firms up or you want to grab a slot, this will be on the recording. Maybe we should add this to the packet as well. Maybe staff can let us know how you want to do that. We did separate it into a separate file based on your request. So, but yeah, no, there's some very interesting topics. So I think this is terrific. Like where we're going with this.
Awesome, thank you everyone, also those that have already been placed on the board and for the rest of us that are contemplating on how we're going to be on next. So if there's nothing else for as far as we have our future meetings at all, you can see online real quick, see that JD. Comment on anything? Or a recommendation at all?
I realized I have at work conflict. May.
All right, well then I will go ahead and we will adjourn 2 minutes early. Let's see, I have your hand up.
So, sorry, Haley just whispered something to me that May does not actually work for her, so she's thinking maybe June. Is there somebody that would like to take the May slot? Whitney, JD, or Christina?
JD, since you said yours is ready to go, do you mind? I still have some work to do to meet with these folks and want to give them enough time.
Yeah, May is great.
I'm gonna share it one more time since I just made a bunch of changes. Oh,
So
sorry.
what's available? May is no longer available. And
Let me share, so I'll show you what
Okay,
I just
alright.
changed, so. Mahela asked for June,
Yeah.
so then I put JD for May. And then I just pushed these down, but I think there's some flexibility with when those are.
Okay.
All of them should have question marks on them, probably. We
Mine's,
need to,
mine is electrification resolutions. So, yeah, thank you.
got the full word. And the question mark is only on the timing, you know, and the confirmation of the date. So as you firm those up, you know, grab them, let us know so we can put you in and firm those up.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, everyone. We had tunes, we are just on time, exactly. So, we're gonna adjourn us at 1:30. Thank you so much and.
Thank you.
See you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.